Gaurav, the allegations that Trudeau had leveled against the Indian government for orchestrating the murder of Nijjar, at this point, he himself steps down, but we hear the judicial process continues with 4 of them accused in the Nijjar murder case getting bail. The next hearing is set to be on the 11th of February. Give us a little more on how far this probe has intensified, and we hear there's been a change of stance in investigation with regards to this case.
So, as Daniel Boardman very correctly pointed out, this is hugely embarrassing for Canada. But as far as progress in investigations is concerned, we are waiting. India as a nation and journalists across the world who've been covering the story, we are waiting to see details of progress in this investigation that's been carried out by the government. We were told, and Daniel can enlighten us further. We were told that the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, they're independent, they're professional, they're very good. They carry out an independent investigation. The initial investigation was being carried out by local police, but then the federal police were roped in. They had intelligence inputs. They had arrested some people. They were being questioned. And then what? And then they're out on bail. Once they're out on bail, why is it that the case is also being moved? And this is again where Daniel can tell us better about Canadian laws. Why is it that the case is being moved from the provincial court, and which is that first level of scrutiny of evidence, to their federal court, which is the ultimate, court where it goes to? So is the Justin Trudeau government, is the so-called independent Royal Canadian Mounted Police or the state police or the prosecutors, are they trying to shy away or run away from initial scrutiny of evidence in public domain? These are very serious questions, because somebody like a Justin Trudeau made a statement on the floor of the Canadian Parliament. He leveled very serious allegations. Extremely serious allegations were leveled against top Indian diplomats of unimpeachable integrity. They've been targeted, they've been tarnished. Are we to understand that all of this is part of Justin Trudeau and Jagmeet Singh's vote bank politics, where national interest and international relations were tested? It just goes on to indicate we do not know what's the evidence that they've been able to gather in the Nijjar killings. We've seen images in public domain. We've heard innuendos. We've heard selected leaks. We've heard that America shared some intelligence. But where is that intelligence? And from day one, India has been saying, one, share intelligence with us. Two, that evidence has to stand in a court of law. Unfortunately, none of that is available in public domain just as yet.
Let me also bring in Daniel on that. Daniel, would you want to respond to what Gaurav has to say, and a quick take on the Canadian Sikh community who are also not satisfied with the way this probe has proceeded? Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to determine who the Canadian Sikh community is. No community is a monolith, and the vast majority of Canadian Sikhs are not Khalistani, especially the ones who've been here for a long time. They're almost, they're well adjusted. I mean, just like India, they're highly successful, highly integrated, generally respected community in Canada. And the wave of, let's say, Trudeau's new students coming out of Punjab, that's a very different case. So even within like the Canadian Sikh community, a lot of Canadian Sikhs don't want to be associated with the riffraff that's come in over the last few years, who have been involved in a lot of this nonsense. As to the point Gaurav was making, I'm not an expert on Canadian law, especially between federal and provincial, and I don't want to start spouting off of what the differences could be in the different courts as related to foreign interference, because we've never really seen a case like this, and it's best if I'm not an expert or don't really know the intricacies. I don't want to misinform people as to what could be going on here. But there is general distrust in the institutions. The RCMP under Justin Trudeau at times has played politics. There is a case of the Nova Scotia shooting where the RCMP was essentially covering for the Liberal government and towing the line of Liberal policy versus reality. So the RCMP has shown that when Justin Trudeau's politics are involved, they are not always the most professional, and that's a problem that many Canadians have noticed. So Listen, this could be a
Right.
benign thing. Like maybe this is actually really good, and they're taking it more seriously. And in order to move things federally, this is just a blip on the system, and they are technically released, but they have ankle monitors, and there are things in place, and we'll find out 2 days from now that actually this was handled somewhat professionally, and there's no government involvement, and it's just a blip. That could be the case. But again, in the pattern of behavior over the last 10 years in Canada is someone commits a serious crime, we put them in jail, and it's like catch and release, right? You take a picture with the fish and you throw it right back in the water.
Well, we're really hoping that Canada gets to the bottom of this, because India too needs clarity on this case. But for now, thank you very much, Daniel Broadman.